nice. Let's. It opened up on our broadcast window, but there, now we're good. All right. I forgot my notes, so I might have to work off your notes. Uh-oh. All right, let's do this, man. Star Trek. Welcome to Star Trek Pros and Cons. I'm AKA Bog, and with me is Captain 1701. He's got his mug. I had my mug last week. I think it's upstairs right now. Should have brought that down. Glad I see that you're wearing your angry metal hoodie, so you did not enjoy this episode.
I wasn't a fan.
If you didn't notice, he had me put googly eyes on the thumb. I wouldn't have done it because I like the episode.
I'm pretty anti googly eyes, and we did a vote on our poll, and we would determine if each episode was googly eye worthy or not. And in my opinion, I think this one was.
And I'm 100% pro googly eyes, so I just deferred.
So I kind of. Should we just go run through the episode and we can kind of go?
I know it started with the recap, and then we got was one of the first shots, like all those ships flying in, or what was the first shot?
Yeah, with those, it was my first note. Well, before the show started, I put, "Will we finally get what the hell is going on with Jack?" And obviously, we don't, except for his diagnosis of Picard's disease. Anyway. The first shot is apparently the Titan is dropping off all these probes to kind of throw off the other ships finding them. I thought the shot, though, with the three ships kind of coming in together, warping in together around the probe was pretty cool.
I thought the probe was like a signal from like Vatican. So I don't know. I'll admit I was eating dinner at the first part there, so I may have missed some of that context. I missed some of her ranting speech. I like seeing some Starfleet ships. That was cool.
Yeah, when she's like, "Burn the Federation to the ashes and we rise for blah blah." I'm like, okay, chill out.
You know, I thought they were gonna take her off the board if she didn't retrieve Jack Crusher from the nebula.
I guess not.
I guess they still need her to retrieve him. I guess.
I knew we'd see her again. Yeah,
of course. She's the main villain this season.
And then I wonder, though, when she left the nebula, if she just scorched all the jellyfish.
Yeah, we didn't see that. It's in the cutscenes.
Out of spite.
I told you that probably happened.
And then we kind of go to Beverly talking to Jack about his... what's that disease called? Aromatic syndrome?
Yeah.
That Picard had?
And I'm like, is that really what's going on? Because if it is, it's kind of a lame cop-out. And they're like, oh, he got it from his daddy, who's now, an artificial synthoid and doesn't have to worry about it.
But I never remember Picard having, like, John Wick moments hazing out.
In All the Good Things. Where Q was making him experience the past, present, and future at the same time, so he could solve the thing, and it showed that he would eventually. That was his diagnosis. So he got it when he was like 85 or 65 or whatever, and his son got it when he was 28 or whatever.
Well, they did hammer the Gollum angle a lot.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm like, at least it was acknowledged. Thank you. I really wish I had my notes. All right, anyways. Yeah, so they were just talking about how sad it is he has Irmak syndrome, and then they went to the bar and they had a nice little chat.
Yeah, I think Picard is not. I'm glad he's not like crazy sentimental anymore about Jack. Like he's kind of more reserved again. And he's really kind of listening to him rather than like, whoa, like pontificating about fatherhood. And
like swings, like the attitudes kind of swing with some of these episodes here. With Jack and Picard, I like for the most part, I like the portrayal of Jack by the actor. I think he's alright. He's pretty good, you know. I'm wondering if they're setting him up with Irmak syndrome so he can sacrifice himself heroically at the end of the season to save Picard's real family. You know, because like they were basically doing Wrath of Khan, you know, and that of course was followed up with Search for Spock with I think it's kind of a blending of the two, you know what I mean? Kirk's son didn't make it out of it.
Are we gonna have Picard season 4 Search for Jack? Like, but then we go to, I thought one of the coolest parts of the episode was the great reunion between Worf and everyone.
Except there was Raffi there.
Yeah, and actually my next note was, quote, "Oh God, Seven and Raffi, hope they leave it. Don't need a dramatic Raffi meltdown."
I would say Seven and Raffi awkward, I think was my note.
I don't care, like, if they're in a relationship, that doesn't bother me, but It seems like whenever a bad thing happens to Raffi, she freaks out. And I was like, we don't need it.
Raffi, so I don't like anybody with Raffi, you know.
We don't need another Raffi freak out moment.
No, I like that Worf was just like, yes, it's my planet doesn't end with a lot of blood. It's like, you guys are over. It's just, you know, it's like, oh, that's it. They're done. All right, great. We're not going to dwell on that.
And then so they get to Daystrom, and this is when the whole thing turned for me.
Okay, so they went from, is that your note? What was your note specifically?
After the oh God Raffi thing?
Yeah.
Moriarty is the AI security.
That's like a pretty big Jeep, because there's like a bunch of cuts back and forth, because all right, so they beamed in, and right away I thought it was, all right, so this security system is deadly and everything. It lets you play with its chips before it zaps you and gives you a warning. I don't know about that. What is this weird logic chip? How did the logic key even work? I don't even get that. It doesn't even explain it. There's no explanation.
It just did. It just did. It just worked.
Well, I was curious how it was going to work. I wanted to know, what's this crypto key this Vulcan gangster made to break into Daystrom?
Well, this was the problem I had with this episode, and it's just kind of like a Kurtzman cop-out, like, it just worked, deal with it, dumbass. But I did write that Moriarty is the AI security, because that was actually my wife's prediction when we were watching it, and so I just wrote it down as she said it. So I did write down they're all kind of,
as soon as the crow came in, I was like, oh, it's got holographic security, and I was like, oh, Moriarty's gonna show up. And I was like, okay.
I did write down before, like, Riker, Worf, and Raffi are leaving to transport to Daystrom, Worf had a great line where he said, "Going into battles with loved ones can be therapeutic." I thought that was a great line, and then Raffi or 7 of 9's like, "I'm not going," and he's like, "Good," or something like that.
I'm fine with
probably that. For the better. But anyway, so, and then they're walking through the Daystrom Institute with their, like, little. This was kind of the main crux of why I didn't like this episode.
Okay.
And the museum scene, because last week when we talked about nostalgia baiting and how it was essential to what they're doing in this series and how they're doing it fairly well, I thought this was just kind of egregious. So they showed the Genesis device. That was cool. Attack Tribble. All right. I guess that's a thing.
Yeah.
And then they have, like, Kirk's body at the Daystrom Institute. What?
Kirk's body?
Yeah.
I missed that. What? Are you fucking even joking me?
Riker was looking in one of the or it was Raffi that was looking, because Riker looked at the Genesis device, and then they all showed him looking at one. Worf looked at the Tribble, and then Raffi was looking at one of them, and it was Kirk's
I missed
body.
that. I thought Riker was looking at, like, I thought it was like his old phase cloak or something. And you're right, it was the Genesis device. And I think maybe I picked up my notepad and I missed that. They had Kirk's body, dude.
I'm like, why?
Is
that
it
makes
Kirk's
no
body?
sense.
So Kirk's body from Generations?
That's buried on the planet
That
under
Picard
all those
buried?
rocks.
Yeah, they went and they picked it up, apparently. Well, they had Picard's body, as I know I'm getting.
Well, why wouldn't they just... Why wouldn't they not bury Kirk in the Starfleet equivalent of Arlington National Cemetery, where you bury all the heroes?
Because Starfleet is evil, and they all serve Section 31.
I'm like, that was stupid. And then so they pump up this AI system as being like so advanced, blah blah blah, and all Moriarty does is come out with a revolver, and then starts shooting at him. And then starts this tune, and Riker, knowing because he listens to a lot of jazz and he's plays music, and he's just like, oh, well, that's Pop Goes the Weasel, and that's the code? And he just disappears, and like all the doors open?
Yeah.
That seemed
cool.
extremely convenient. And I'm like, the whole Moriarty sequence was nostalgia bait for stupid sake.
It was for previews.
Pointless sake.
Exactly like Riker said. He's like, this is even the Moriarty we faced. It was dumb,
right? And then it was just like how they've done in Picard and Discovery and Strange New Worlds, where like, oh, I like watched an episode of Star Trek last night. I'll throw in like Gary 7.
Well, I thought the Daystrom Institute was like
stupid...
supposed to be like a research institute. Why isn't this like a Section 31 deep storage or something? Because of name recognition for member berries, probably.
That's what kind of dropped
We've never
me
actually
from
been to the Daystrom Institute. Maybe we should go there for some action. And it's like this weird... It doesn't look like an institute where people would be doing research. It's like this weird, like, storage locker, like deep, cold storage locker. And I guess they said no one works there since the break-in, which also doesn't really make sense. They're like, yeah, and then since they broke in, we decided to move everybody out of there, so there's just like automated security.
Abandon like Starfleet's deepest secrets.
They noted that all the ships are linked or whatever, right?
Oh, that annoyed me. That was really dumb.
Oh, come on.
Fully integrated.
They're all Bluetooth out.
I wrote fully integrated Starfleet ? Like, why? I mean, what's the purpose? Is it to, after the Dominion War, they're like, we need to like make sure all our ships are linked together. Yeah. They've never been linked before. What's the point? Is it just because we're, nowadays when we're watching Star Trek, we have AI in our lives, and everyone's faces are
futuristic, and they're like, "Why? If we have all this network stuff now, why isn't it networked?" And it's like, whatever.
Because it's a different future.
It just puts pressure on them. And so here's my thing, okay? Because they go see Geordi at the museum, right? And they pop in, and they're showing us all these ships and everything. All right, they don't get into detail just yet, but they pop in. And I'm like, oh, and they're like, oh, all the most famous ships. I'm like, oh, cool, they're going to grab the Defiant. Right? And then, like, an hour later, or whatever, there's no Defiant sequence. And I'm like, you idiots. And, like, all right, so they get there, and Geordi is a sad sap, dude. He is pathetic, and there's no excuse. He's just pathetic. I'm sorry, he's not my Geordi. Hashtag not my Geordi. Because I like Geordi, man. He was my favorite back in the day. But dude, he just, and he's like, he's talking to him, he's haranguing him and everything, and we keep going back and forth. And I had notes because there was a lot of cuts. Do you have any notes about what was going on at Daystrom other than bah humbug and museum?
I mean,
because they just don't. Seven is showing them ships. Seven's like showing Jack Crusher ships, right?
I actually thought that was a cool scene.
Okay, did she show the Enterprise and then the Enterprise A, or was that a different Constitution?
It was like the Jamestown or something.
Okay, because I missed it.
But it
better not be the
it
A.
was a
all right, that's
it
cool.
was a
okay.
no, hold on. They did show the Enterprise A.
Yeah, the A, but not the original Constitution, because I was going to complain about that.
There was an original Constitution.
That's fine.
Yeah,
that works. And yeah, that was okay. I like Seven being all nostalgic for her ship, you know. And,
I like that as well.
And then they go, oh, hey, there's a Klingon ship, and they use that to like use the cloak, and I'm like, why aren't you just taking the Defiant, you idiots? Like, it has a more modern cloaking device. It's already been integrated with Federation technology. And then later, I was like, why don't they just set up the phase cloak, you know? And right, yeah. Anyways,
yeah, I was like, if you're gonna take a cloaking device, yeah, you take either the whole Defiant ship, or which has, but
that's what I wanted.
the bird of prey one is like 100 years old, if not more.
It's 100 years older than the Defiant. Exactly right.
And it's a Klingon cloaking device, and they like just set it up within 5 minutes.
Which, like, the old Klingon cloaks, they've broken how many times too?
Yeah, and every time they tried to integrate a cloaking device on a Federation starship, it always got messed up.
So that's my whole thing. When they're like, oh, how do you feel about larceny? I was like, all right, they're going to go steal a ship. And I was like, they better not steal a Klingon ship. They better steal the Defiant. And then they stole the cloaking device and put it in the fight. And then I was just like, that could have been a lot cooler. We could be in the Defiant right now, which wouldn't be networked to any of the other ships. And that's why I was thinking, I'm like, dude, that's perfect. Just take the Defiant. Now you're in like the coolest Starfleet ship that we had in the 90s, and you can and you're not networked. That problem is now solved. And if you run into anybody, you're in the scourge of the Dominion. You're ready to light them up.
Totally. And then there's your DS9 reference for this whole Memberberry series.
They should have just gone to the Defiant and given us a really nice new look. We could have dumped this, I'm telling you, this Neo Constitution, dude, they just took the model from the JJ villain ship and they remodeled it a little bit and filled in the
dreadnought
color. Yeah, dude, it looks so much like it. And I will admit one of my big mistakes, dude. I can clearly see that the what was the name of the Intrepid is a very much not a similar style class ship. It is very different and ugly, and I don't like it. And I understand it's an homage to an old style design, but man, is that it did? You know, they have it at the angle, like the 3/4 angle, so I couldn't really tell. And it's only in the couple of shots there, you know. And I was watching on TV. It's pretty good, you know, but. Last week I was on someone's 4K TV and the action looked really bad, but the blacks were real nice and I could definitely see through that gap, and I just don't like the look of that ship.
And then the bad Starfleet ships are Echelon class starships, apparently is what they call them.
Oh, and it's weird too because they do look like they're 3 different ships.
I know. It's like no one knows their ship consistency. Did you catch the when they were? Did you notice in the museum? I think you probably have a model of it. They had the ship that looks like kind of the Batwing. It's like the no nacelles. It was on DS9. It's not the Akira. It's not the Steam Runner. It was kind of that other one that was.
You're not talking like it's not the J.
The Saber class.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I know.
They did have a Saber. They did have a Saber class at the museum.
I like those.
Which was cool. But yeah, I mean, the whole thing about if you want nostalgia, why don't you go with the Defiant? Like, what are you doing with the whole HMS Bounty thing?
They probably didn't want to pay
Klingon.
for like a new. Well, they wanted Worf to have his joke about Klingon tech or whatever. But dude,
Superior technology.
They should have just brought the Defiant back.
As if Worf didn't have enough jokes in the episode.
Hey, he's giving like, oh,
jokes
my old
jokes.
ship, you know, dude. Because they're already a skeleton crew. You know, the full
they could
crew
easily
complement on a Defiant is 50 crew. I bet they have less than that on the Titan right now.
There's like 10 or 12 at most that I've seen.
Well, then they had a skeleton crew. So I could easily be like, oh, here, let's beam the 30 people that are on board the ship over here. And we're going to just take the Defiant. Because even Geordi said, your ship's like paper thin and falling apart. And like, dude, take the Defiant. Again, the scourge of the Dominion.
And then you could still have... And then you have Worf, who's like been a captain of the Defiant several times. You could still, you know, do the whole Riker Picard little ship joke again.
Well,
I mean, so many better options.
Split up. You could have had them split up and had the Titan come in like as a pass, as a distraction, and then flown off, and then, you know, they could have been like, oh, we don't know what we're gonna do, and they could have built up like, well, we got to go, and like. Riker could have paged him back. Are you guys here? And they could be like, oh no, because apparently they have trans-warp comms that from their communicator that work sectors away or whatever.
Right.
You know, or a system away or however far. But like when he pages them, right, they could have like come in and like flown and been like, oh, they're trying to beam them off, block them, chase them, you know. And then as you see the ship chase them and lead them away, the Defiant like decloaks, comes in, and
that'd have been
Worf's
way
like,
cooler.
Worf's like, we're ready to beam you up, and then you would have had two ships going too. But we're complaining about what could have been. So how was the episode? I'm annoyed that they left Riker in order to pick everyone else up. You know, I had a note something about the Riker down, and then almost immediately, almost like Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, where they were like, oh, hey, everyone's back together, and they got Han. Well, bye, you guys are going to go save Han, we'll see you later. And Worf's like, goodbye, I am leaving to save Riker. And it's just like, oh, well,
yeah,
guess we won't see Worf next episode.
But so before they get captured, they run into Super Data.
That's exactly what my note says. I was like, oh, when they're explaining them, they're like, they have B4 and Lore and Data and LOL. Which, how do they get LOL?
LOL.
I don't know. But, and I wrote down, I was like, oh, it's Super Data. And you know what? I'm fine with Super Data because I liked it. Spinner's performance when they turned him on. And I'm fine with it. As with all the garbage that they could have done, it's actually probably the best option they could have gone with.
I guess.
I wrote down Starfleet torturing Data / abusing him or something like that, and it's evil Starfleet, Section 31 Starfleet, blah blah blah, Kurtzman Starfleet. But in all fairness, they did try and like dehumanize him and like, you know, in Measure of a Man. Although I thought it was settled in that episode. You know what I mean? I thought it was pretty clear. No, you can't be doing this.
So he's like the manifest of everything. Like it just didn't make any sense to me.
It's so that Spinner can be like, I'm crazy, and oh, now I'm sad, and now I'm angry, and you know, because he likes doing it. So. But he'll like integrate into like a human version of Data because he has his evil dark side like Lore and his naive and, you know, the Data side, and now he's got the childlike side of B4, and he's got his feminine side and his daughter.
I don't like any of it.
I could have been much happy. I would have been fine with them leaving Lowell out of it.
I don't care about LOL.
Because like B4 is Data's like memory backup and Lore, you know, integrated together. I can see that. Now, why weird some human that we didn't know existed had an extra like android body that he was going to use for himself and decided the best thing to do was to try and put all of the other androids in it together. I don't know. And how did he have lore? I thought lore was already with Starfleet or whatever. Didn't we look that up last time? Didn't they like ship him off in a box? So how did this dude have lore to integrate? Or did he just make this body and send it to him in the hopes that they were going to put B4 in lore? Because it seems like he made the body and he's like, I'm trying this experiment but couldn't do it. But they had B4 in lore, so how did... I don't know. It's just dumb, but it's okay. It's okay because I didn't like that they killed Data.
I don't either, but I'd leave him dead.
I'd rather
they've killed him twice now.
I'd rather have him
they've
back,
killed him,
and I'd rather have like Data back instead of weird like dude. All right, so like, what was the deal with Data and Picard? It was like a hologram memory Data, like in his head or something, right?
I don't even know.
It was like his memories that Picard was talking to, right?
I think it was like his positronic. I don't know. Sparkles.
Sparkles.
Like that. That's how
Sparkles. I want. I don't care. I want that Data back.
Was this a new unaccounted Soong, or was this the one that turned Picard into a golem?
This is Golem Picard guy from season 1.
I thought so.
Yeah. They were like, oh, such and such Soong, and I was like, what was his name? I don't know.
God damn it. Care. Another Soong? How many Soongs do we have?
We don't have to have any more Soongs because we got Data back, bro. Now we can just have Data. If we ever bring the cast back, now we've got Data. We don't have to write some weird, twisted, dumb reason for Spinner to be there. It's just, hey, we got Data back. All right. I'm a comic book guy, so I'm used to everyone coming back from the dead since I was like 10 years old. I don't care if they do that.
That's true. I wish it was fully lore, in my opinion.
I was totally prepared for it to be lore, and I would have been 100% satisfied if it was lore. And he was like, yeah, because lore. While he was like, he wasn't necessarily like pure evil. Like he was just like an asshole that wanted to survive and was like, fuck y'all, you know. He wasn't. He didn't.
I love Thor.
So I would have been fine with, and that's why I'm kind of like the idea of like having him integrate lore and everything into this total Data. Like I said, super Data. I like it. I like the idea, and overall, this episode. I wish I had my notes. I can't believe I left them up here. I'll make a video if I have anything that I've noted down that we haven't covered because I think we're covering it all. But honestly. I didn't like parts and I was annoyed about parts, but by the end of the episode I was like, that was pretty good, and I liked how they handled some of the situations that they had, like Data being dead, and now we don't have to worry about where's lore, where's B4, where's Data. It's a new Data. And hey, they're and now he's old, so like Prince Spanier doesn't have to go through weird prosthetic de-aging. Great, that's fine.
Why didn't they just... They should have just digitally de-aged. Whatever. What I
want to know is new Data's body programmed to die like a human being, have old age, or is his, unlike Picard's golem, programmed to live forever?
Well, no, Picard's golem has an expiration date.
That's what
he's
saying.
Supposed to die like normal.
Did they program Data like that? To die like an old human, or is he programmed to live forever? You don't care either. If he's
the Daystrom manifest, he should live forever, right? I don't know. It's just a weird, goofy thing. I like Sean LaForge. We got the whole
cast back together, dude. We're working on it.
I like Sean LaForge. Who? We had another great Shaw moment where Shaw was like,
"Oh yeah."
I thought that was cool.
Sean LaForge. I was like, no, Sean LaForge was awesome. And I like that. I like Geordi's pilot daughter. Not a big fan of his real life actress daughter, who's not an actress, I don't think. But I thought she did fine.
I would say she was not.
I was not paying any attention to her. I thought she was just kind of like a stick in the mud daughter hanging out with her dad. You know, like, yeah, Dad. We don't like Sydney.
Hang out at the museum together.
Yeah, pretty much. Whatever. I thought she was fine. I like Sydney.
I guess we find out
better.
I think Sydney's a really good character.
Yes.
I
With
think
Shaw, I put her right up there with Shaw. I think she is an excellent example, like a new example of a classic TNG era Starfleet officer. Like all right, I really like her character. I agree totally.
I know what I'm getting into when I join Starfleet, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I kind of actually, I'll admit, as much as I don't even want to admit it, I was like picking up some vibes between her and JC, and then later on,
Yeah, me too.
When Geordi looks at him and he's like, "Stay away from my daughter," I was like, "Nice." I was like, "That's pretty good. I like that." I thought that was fun.
And then so we find out with data lore / lol / whatever /
Super
Soong /
SD. It's SD.
Yeah, okay.
SD.
All right. That they stole Picard's body, his real one.
My note was, what the is going on, dude? Why are they doing? And I didn't even see Kirk's body. What the hell
That's
is
the
Section
weapon of all
31
weapons
doing, bro? Why is
that's the weapon of all weapons?
The weapon of all weapons is Picard's body. Yeah, because they're gonna, I don't know, use it to make it. They're gonna reverse engineer the disease the Federation used on them to destroy the Federation. But that wouldn't even make sense.
Oh, Jesus
the Federation
Christ!
Is a bunch of different aliens.
I don't know.
We had a full-on changeling alien. The chick who's cutting her hand off, confirmed full changeling. I saw some people speculating she had like a changeling had given a glob of itself, like cut her hand off and put it on her hand to act as a communication control device. And I was like, nah, that don't make no sense. Confirmed, she's a full changeling. She like is gonna shoot Riker and then, let me just shoot these two rando security officers, and now I'm kidnapping Riker. And of course, we go to her ship, and the big reveal is, it's Deanna Troi. And my note was, is it though? Really?
Oh my God,
is
Troy!
It really? Is it, or is it fake Troi? Is this another changeling?
I don't know anymore.
I don't care.
When you get with changelings, you have no idea.
I don't particularly care. Is like Troi? I'm like, no. She doesn't seem like she's much of the adventuring type anymore. Definitely doesn't seem like the Troi of old, who went through command training and we had to go through a whole episode where she like went through this whole like horrible experience and like came out and was like, yes, I am going to be a commander, and I learned that I learned my lesson. Now she's like, oh. Instead,
I sense.
We'll see. Next episode might open with a scene with the two of them and her coming back to her old self, or the reveal it really is a change. Who knows? I don't know.
If a Troi changeling, are they an empath as well?
No. Shouldn't be.
Or they just take their form? Yeah, right.
Their form, yeah. They don't replicate. Maybe can they replicate the organs? They're replicating human organs now. Maybe it can replicate Maybe it's an organ that makes them empaths. I don't know. I don't care. I didn't think that deep about it. I did not like the way the episode ended. I thought it ended on a downer. And I did not like their flipping use of like Federation technology and their use of like, we've got an hour, we're gonna fly across the universe to see Geordi and like argue with him and then like get back in an hour. Have
a heart to heart like rehash of the past. And
so there's some things about it that were dumb. So I'll take some of my overall enjoyment, but overall I enjoyed the episode. I liked it. I liked the series. Usually I've been giving these episodes 9s. I'll give this like a 7.5 because there was some dumb stuff. But overall, I like having data back. I we'll see what happens. I thought it was nice that they gave Riker a moment with Data with like a flashback and everything, since he's been kidnapped now. So even though we didn't have like a Riker Data moment, we at least got that like Riker moment with Data. It was a moment with Riker and Data, even though Data wasn't present really. But because like in Star Wars when they did the trilogy, we didn't get Mark Hamill, we didn't get Leia, Luke, and Han together once. I don't know if you ever realized.
You're right.
That. They never put all of them together, which is the dumbest thing.
Well, that was the least dumb thing in all of those movies.
Oh, it's one of the things that
In a
it's
long,
like, it's
in a long list of dumb
excuse
things.
it, dude? How could you not have a reunion of them because the writers are like trying to subvert expectations? It's dumb. Anyways, so overall, what would you say for this episode? Now that we've talked about it, and we've talked about some of the good times as well as the bad times, I know you came in pretty salty and gave me the googly eyes. Go ahead, but where are you sitting now?
4 or 5.
Below average.
I'm
creeping to.
I didn't
4.
like. I'm starting to get a little salty because I'm still like, we're 6 episodes in. We've got 3 left, so they're gonna cram all of these revelations into 3 episodes.
Is it 3 or 4?
I mean, seriously.
Do we have 9 or 10?
Well, this was 6, so 7. I guess 4.
Yeah,
but like
10
usually in seasons like this, there's of any show, they've started to drop hints of who people are and story, and like we don't know what's going on with Jack except his genetic disease. There's something else going on. We like don't know who this chick is. All we know is she's a changeling. Whoop the effing do. We don't. So the data, like the super weapon is Picard. Like, why? What is so damn special about him?
Okay.
And plus, they're turning Picard into like some like Captain Kirk rogue wannabe. It's dumb. I hate that part. He wasn't like some swashbuckling space pirate like Captain Kirk, and that's what they're trying to turn him into, which is very annoying to me.
He was definitely not Kirk. Dude, I don't even know how to respond. I can't even keep up with everything you just said. It was quite the outburst.
I just went off on a little mini rant, but so I don't know. I'm like,
there's stuff in there I agree with and stuff I disagree with. I like, I don't like. Again, Picard Stewart is not playing Picard the same way he did. But all right, so be it. I don't know.
Basically, I just kind of want to start seeing some crumbs as to like what the motivations of the bad guys are. We haven't gotten any.
The motivations of the bad guys is they're the changeling terrorists and they want revenge against the Federation for using a horrific poison weapon against them, even though the Federation then turned around and provided the cure.
But what does it have to do with Picard? Picard wasn't there. He had nothing to do with that.
Do with his son? I don't know.
Right.
As far as Jack's visions, how do we know that's not the aromatic syndrome? They gave him medicine to help with the hallucinations, and he hasn't had any red door problems ever since. And so it very well may be the J.J. Abrams box of writing, where every episode has to have a mystery box so that you have a question that carries over to the next one. And so the mystery box was, what was Jack's red door? Oh, the mystery box is aromatic syndrome. That's not a problem anymore. So now the new mystery box, right, is why do they need Picard's body? Or why is Picard's body the weapon? And so in the next episode, we'll find out that they just wanted it so that they could take his DNA to impersonate him at Federation Day through bioscanners to, I'm just saying, but it's going to just be some kind of mystery box. I'm still going to go with it because it hasn't done anything so egregious just yet that I absolutely hate it.
I agree.
This episode was not as good as some of the others because it did have some issues, and I did like a few of the things. I did like the actress Sydney's portrayal in this episode. It kind of focused in on her character a bit, and I thought she did very good. Once she slapped her dad around a little bit and got him out of his funk, it was very nice to see Geordi back. I want to see. I'm fine with Brent Spiner being crazy because we've had to deal with Brent Spiner as like Soong and Soong's grandson and his uncle, and I just want Data, dude. And if there's gonna be a Brent Spiner some role, man, it might as well be Data. And he's a robot, and they had a memory backup. I'm okay with it. I'm mad that it took them this long to do it. They should have had it at the end of the Nemesis or whatever when they downloaded it into B4, even though he was a simpler model, which I never got. Why would you say it was like a dumbed down version of Data? You're like, we're making like simple Ned Data, you know, like I never got that. And so at least with this, it's like correcting that bad writing decision of the past and saying, well, if Data sent them a backup and they have an extra positronic android body, why don't we have Data? All right, now we've got Data, and I get it with the lore, and it's fine. It's weird and it's dumb. I admit it's dumb how they have all these parts. It's dumb that this Soong made an android or whatever. But at the end of the day, I like the concept of like Data and lore integrating together. And like I said, I feel like it's a simplification of some of the sporadic like continuity that we've had, and like it corrects some of the dumb continuity too from the movies in the prior Picard season. That's my feeling. That's why I'm going to give it a 7. I'll come down. I'll say 6.5, 7. You went with like a 4 or 5. It's a middling episode. Have you seen the thumbnail I made for it?
No.
You should totally check it out.
I just kind of want to just see some.
And I know if anyone's chatting,
explanation of lingering storylines. It just seems like they're going to cram a lot of stuff into like the last 2 or 3 episodes, and you're going to be like breakneck trying to put all these plots together.
Yeah.
And I do like this show a lot better than the last the last 2 seasons. It's just, you know, you can't.
Came in with every hate. I was kind of surprised. That's fine. I don't mind. I was just. Whoa.
I'm just hoping this is the one, in my opinion, stinker of this season. It was just super weird and convoluted, and a lot of memory holes that made no sense, and it just kind of took away from my experience of the episode.
I think you raised some very valid points. You know, I hope it offers some counterpoints. And some of my acceptance of the dumb is also just admittedly like, I just like having Data back, so I'm willing to accept, because we've already had stupid things with post Data. I'm willing to accept that as stated, you know?
God, I wish they took the Defiant.
I know! That would have been... We would have bumped my rating up a couple points there, you know?
Seriously, that probably would have...
the Defiant to Worf and then taken Riker could be on the Titan. Come on, man.
Tough little ship.
Oh, wow. Lost opportunities.
And then he flies to DS9 and picks up Kira and Ezri Dax and
I like it.
Get the DS9 crew back together.
I believe I told you that there is a current Star Trek comic book out just called Star Trek. I believe it's going on 7 or 8 issues now that brings Cisco back. He's like trying to figure out who's killing all of the gods. And I've got it. I haven't read it yet. I read the first issue, which was good, which was okay. The art is all right. But I think it's a tie-in. They're launching a new series called Star Trek Defiant. And I ordered you a copy of that, so I'm going to send you a copy of that one. And I think this Star Trek Resurgence series, I'm going to pick up the last one in the next couple of weeks and send that to you. We'll have to talk some
right comics,
on, you know. Yeah, I didn't say anything else. I have a question.
No.
What was the bounty? Yeah. What was the bounty titled in this episode?
From the Klingon ship, the Bounty, what they renamed, what Kirk and Spock and McCoy renamed the Klingon ship in the
HMS Bounty.
Journey Home. Yeah.
Did they mention the ship's
the whale
name?
movie?
I missed that. I just saw him talking.
Yeah, when they're when Seven's kind of quizzing him on.
I didn't connect that when they mentioned the ship to like the name of the episode. Okay, all right. And the bounty was
Star Trek
cloak.
She said they because 7 of 9 said that they pulled it out of San Francisco Bay, and they had a tough time finding it because the cloaking device was on. I'm like, whatever, okay. But yeah, that was Star
I
Trek
didn't realize
4.
that she named it HMS Bounty at that point. Like she said, "Oh, it's the HMS Bounty."
Well, that's what the TOS crew renamed it when they
Well, I know
stole
that's
it.
what the TOS crew. I just missed that they name dropped it as the bounty in the episode.
Yeah.
I knew it was the bounty from the movie. Yeah.
The whale movie. That's a great one, by the way.
One of the best. Which shows
it's so
that you
dumb,
can
but
have good Star Trek filmed in the past to save money. Unlike Star Trek Picard Season 2.
I forgot what that was. Please do not remind me.
You? Yeah, I was going to say, I know you don't want a synopsis here. All right. You ready to wind it down?
Yeah, just a couple promo things, I guess. Everything has history. I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers.
Congrats.
Just over 900, so I want to get to 1,000 on that. And then to keep growing pros and cons. We're doing pretty well on that. Just put out a 1 on 7 of 9. I'm probably working on another character Trek 101 / episode soon, so that might be coming out. But yeah, if you haven't subscribed to any of those channels, please do.
All right, I'll shout out akabog.com and aka Bog on YouTube. I've been real busy at work, so I haven't. I've been dragging my heels on updating the website and fixing all my OBS things so I can actually do more broadcasts. But I am actually going on vacation after next week. I've got a week off, and I'm going to dedicate a large portion of my time to fixing the website up and also fixing my OBS up so we can do a lot more videos. So thanks for checking it out.
Pros and cons.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and drop a subscription. Please leave comments. We will ultimately respond to all of them. We're just going through, and sometimes we got to take a little longer to think about it, but we really appreciate everyone's thoughts, and we just want to talk Trek. Till next time.
Well,
yeah, let's wind it down. Yeah.
All right.
Let's go to the outro.